Hi, third graders. It's Mrs. Hawes. So we finished The Littles last week. And this week we are starting a new book of The Littles because there's like 6 different books and they're really fun. There's more adventures with this family of The Littles. So this one is called, if you guys want to know what it's called, The Littles Go Exploring. How many of you guys have gone, that just means like, going outside and like hiking. If you guys are taking hikes right now or going to the beach and you explore around where you're at, you're looking for things like shells and rocks and things like that. So they're exploring. So Tom and Lucy Little stood on the roof of the Biggs house. They watched Cousin Dinky's glider climb high into the sky and disappear beyond the trees. A minute before, they had seen Cousin Dinky's zoom down and drop a letter into the Biggs chimney. This was the way the little family always got their mail. Isn't that cute? They had put a net across the chimney to keep the letters from falling into the fireplace below. The children ran to pick up the letter, but the net was empty. Hey, said Tom, there was a letter, wasn't there? Here's a cute little picture of the chimney. That's pretty smart of them to put a little net on there. I like that. It's adorable. Lucy pointed. Look, Tom, she said. There's a hole in the net. The letter must have fallen through. Wait, said Tom. Look down there inside the chimney. Lucy Little lay flat on her stomach on the top of the chimney. She peered into the darkness. I see something white, she said. Is that the letter? Where is it? It must be stuck in one of those bricks, said Tom. I'm going to climb down there and get it. Tom, said Lucy, are you crazy? You will fall into the fireplace and get hurt, or the Biggs might see you. What would happen to us? To be seen by the Biggs would be the worst thing that could happen to Lucy and Tom and their whole family. That's because the Littles were tiny people. They weren't midgets, they were just tiny. The biggest Little was 6 inches tall, and the Littles lived secretly inside the walls of the house owned by George W. Bigg and his family. There were 8 Littles in all: Tom, who was 10 years old, Lucy, who was 8, their parents and Mr. and Mrs. William T. Little, their baby sister, and their grandmother, and the 2 uncles. There was plenty of room for everybody in their comfortable 10-room apartment inside the walls of the Biggs house. 10-room apartment, that's kind of cool. In most ways, the tiny Littles were like ordinary-sized people, except for one thing: they had tails. The Littles thought their tails were handsome, and they thought big people looked very strange without tails. So here's a cool picture of them all. You guys see that? Let me see if you can see it. It's kind of cute. They don't show the little baby's tail. That would have been cute if they did. Maybe big people would think the Littles looked strange too, but no big person had ever seen a Little. The Littles wanted to keep it that way. So they had all their other tiny families who lived in the houses in the Big Valley. They always stayed out of sight in their houses, and they hardly ever went out to visit each other. To keep in touch, they sent letters. Cousin Dinky Little, a pilot, delivered everyone's mail. He loved to travel up and down the Big Valley in his glider. He and his wife Della flew everywhere together, delivering the mail and having adventures. Tom and Lucy always looked forward to getting the mail. Now a letter had fallen down the chimney. I've got to get that letter, said Tom, and he started to go down. Suddenly he stopped. Hey, Lucy, he said, I never noticed it before, but these bricks are almost like steps. It's easy to climb down. Look, kind of hot, though. Wait, Tom, said Lucy, I'm going to go with you. The tiny girl followed her brother into the chimney. It was dark and sooty. Soot is the black stuff that gets on the inside of your chimney from burning stuff. 5 feet down the steps he came to a stop. The letter lay at the last step. Tom picked it up and sat on the step. Here's a cute little picture. You guys see that? Who's the letter from? Said Lucy. Tom held the letter close to his eyes. He could just make out the writing in the dim light. Oh, it's for you, said Tom. He handed his sister the letter. From your best friend. Tina, said Lucy. Oh, good. Tom leaned back against the chimney. Hey, he yelled. What's wrong? Said Lizzie. It moved. What moved? Tom jumped to his feet. This brick I just leaned against. It moved. The boy began to push the brick. Tom, be careful, Lucy warned. The chimney might fall down, and if there's a loose brick. But look, it moves, said Tom. See? He pushed the brick. A tiny crack of light came from behind the brick. Tom pushed it again. This time Lucy helped him. Light flooded into the dark chimney. This is crazy, said Tom, almost whispering. He stuck his head through the opening. It's a room. A room, said Lucy. Oh, said Tom, it's a secret room. The children walked into the tiny room, and the light was coming through a little window which was set into the far wall of the room. Here's a little picture of that. See, they moved the brick out of the way. Tom and Lucy looked for them, looked about them. They looked around and they saw a small table and a chair in the room, just like the ones the Littles had in their apartment. The table was covered with papers. Lucy ran to the window and looked out. "There's the big yard," she said. "But where are we, Tom? Where is this room?" "It must be behind the chimney in the attic," said Tom. "Whose room is it?" said Lucy. "We've never seen this before." Tom picked up some of the papers from the table and he blew off some dust. "It was used by a tiny person, that's for sure, but no one's been here for a very long time," he said. "Tom," said Lucy in her quietest voice, "let's keep it a secret. Let's not tell anyone. It can be our secret room." Tom looked down into the yellow papers. He shook his head. "We can't do that," he said. "We'll have to tell Mother and Dad right away." "Why?" said Lucy. Why did you find it, Tom?" "These papers belong to Grandpa Little, that's why," answered Tom. "This room, he must have come here and no one knew." So what would you guys do if you found a secret place? Would you want to keep it a secret or would you tell your parents? That's a very good question, right? "Grandpa Little," said Lucy, "but he disappeared a couple of years ago. Everyone says he's probably dead." Lucy sat in the chair. "Everyone except Granny Little," she went on. "She thinks he's alive someplace, doesn't she?" "I think she does, but she never talks about him." "Didn't you like Grandpa?" "They never had There never was a clue," said Tom. "Not even a teeny tiny clue about what happened to Grandpa when he disappeared." Tom looked at Lucy. "Gee, maybe there's something in all these old papers that will tell us." He held a bunch of the papers. "Look, here's some kind of diary and some maps. We have to tell Mother and Dad right away, but Lucy, we can't tell Granny." "Why not?" "She's kind of funny about Grandpa. Dad will have to decide what to do." "But why shouldn't she know? It's her husband." "You just said Granny thinks Grandpa's still alive," said Tom. "I'll bet she doesn't really, but she won't talk about it, not ever." "Well, does that mean?" "Dad says that if someone you love just disappeared, that's worse than if they died," Tom said. "You would have to hope that he was alive, but you'd think maybe he was dead. Just wondering about it would be awful." "Do you mean that's why she won't talk about it?" said Lucy. "She doesn't want to talk about it?" "Yeah, I suppose so," said Tom. "I guess that's it." "You know, it bothers me too," said Lucy, "that Grandpa just disappeared." That is weird. So what do you guys think happened? Why did he disappear? We will find out. That is the end of chapter 1, and we will read chapter 2 next week. I hope you guys all have a great week and that you're reading something fun and that you do some exploring this week, just like the Littles. All right, talk to you soon. Happy reading.